Welcome to Community Roundtable. I'm Nick Burns from the Salt Lake Community College Division of Communication and Performing Arts, and today on the show we welcome back a special guest. We'll talk about immigration, we'll discuss education, and we'll ask about government transparency. And if we have time, maybe we'll look a bit into the future. She is our U.S. Representative from Utah's 4th District, Mia Love. Representative Love, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for taking time for this. I know there's been a whole lot of concern over, folks from Washington and how they interact with their district, but thanks for taking time. And there's a lot I want to talk about. I know we have longer than a typical 3-minute interview, so thank you. But back, I don't know where to start here. I'm a teacher.
Right.
I want to ask about your education. Your parents emigrated from Haiti.
Yes.
Some fear for their lives under Papa Doc.
Yes.
You were born in New York.
Right.
Before moving to Utah, you studied musical theater.
I did.
Which I think is totally cool. So I wonder, just to get into education, your own educational choices and how those impact your now double win in the House of Representatives. How's musical theater background good for being in Congress?
Well, I don't know if it's good or if it's bad. It is what it is. I've always loved the arts. I think it develops a different sense in us. It broadens our perspective in our minds. And so I've always been a fan of the arts. And as there have been attacks over the arts, and it's the one thing that people tend to look to when they're trying to get rid of different programming, I certainly think it's something that we need to keep. And so I've been, it's something that I'm passionate about and I love. I think it's also, when you talk about my education, I went to the University of Hartford, which was a 4-year college. My parents really thought it was important for me to go and explore who I was, what I wanted to do. And I have to say that my background and my work experience is actually in marketing. So my music and theater background actually helped me in marketing, because what you're doing is you're taking a product and you're selling a product. You're trying to figure out how to get the public to look at a product and say, you know what, this is something I can use. This is something that will help improve my quality of life. So it helped in marketing for sure.
It's as if sales was a song and dance, so to speak.
As if sales, it's always a song and dance, right?
Yeah, so I don't want to make that comparison to college. But your mother worked as a nurse.
Yes.
So I presume you grew up with a large feeling of college is where you go?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I think it's because my parents didn't have a college education when they immigrated from Haiti. They were high school students. My mom was a certified nurse's assistant first, and later on in life, I was really proud of her when she got her nursing degree.
She became an RN?
Yes.
Wonderful.
So she still works. She worked in the hospital that she actually was a nurse's assistant to and became a nurse.
Oh, wow.
To the elderly. And so, I'm really proud of her. But she, they had this strong sense that they wanted to educate all of their children. And all 3 of us are actually college graduates. And so my parents have always seen that as their American dream, right? They wanted their children to be able to grow up in the land of the free and be able to educate their children. And so that was something that was really important to them.
Because we have over half the students here at Salt Lake Community College are first generation.
Right.
Moms and dads didn't go to college, but there are many parents who would just assume, what do you want to waste your time in college for? You should work, right? And with the economy booming, it's hard, I think, for some people. It's tempting to, why should I go to school full time? I can just take a couple classes. So
I think education is important, and I think having an option for education is important too, because people are in different areas, in different walks of life. They've got different obligations, and the reason why, and you'll see my bias here. The reason why I am such an advocate for community colleges is because it gives people so many different options. You could have a family and go to school and take a couple of classes. You can decide that you're going to take as much time as possible to get a good quality education. What's great about community colleges too is that they have a really good sense of what's needed in the marketplace. You're not going to get a degree that's not going to help you in the future. You can actually look at what's happening in the communities around you and be able to say, okay, this is an area where I know that there's a growing workforce, that there's going to be a need, and so I can study in this area and know that I'm not wasting my money or wasting my time. and I'll be able to graduate in a field that's needed.
No, thank you, and good point, right? Because
Right.
here we are the only comprehensive community college left in the
right.
state. So here, you know, you want to work on cars, you want to work in composites, you want to transfer on to get a law degree. I
right.
mean, you can start anything here.
That's right. You can start anything here, and you can also finish. You know, you can finish, and then if you decide that you want to go on and continue, this is a great place to start and a great place to finish. And what you decide to do afterwards is up to you. But it's also the best when you think about cost and what you're going to get for your money. This is a great place to be. Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of obvious hearing your enthusiasm that, you know, you're relatively new to Congress, and rather than jumping on some of those huge bandwagon issues, you've done a lot about education.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been something that's been your thing.
Well, I think the biggest issue with higher education is, especially when you look at traditional four-year colleges, the cost of education is rising far faster than the rate of inflation. So the school that I went to, it was $20,000 a year when I went. Now today, for the same education, it's $44,000 a year.
So it's doubled?
It's doubled, more than doubled. It makes it so that only the very wealthy, or people who are going to come out with massive amounts of student loans, can go to school. There are times people, again, have to have options, and they have to be able to know what options are out there for them, so that they could look and see whether the cost is going to work for them and whether they're really going to get benefits.
To be $300,000 in debt, maybe that's okay if you're going to be a surgeon. You're going to be a car mechanic, you maybe want to think twice about $20,000 debt, or whatever it might be.
That's right. You want to make sure that you go to a school that offers the type of skills that you're going to need for the workplace, and there's actually going to be a job when you graduate. So
I know we need to take a quick break here, but I hear you talk a lot about education and jobs and vocation and career, and of course community colleges are all about that. But as someone who is an educator, I don't want to lose sight of that college is also civic engagement, better citizenship. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons to go to college, even if you're happy with the job you got. So I don't want to sell college short on that side either. But if you're going into debt, you probably do want to be thinking about where you're going to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, you want to think about where you're going to work, and that's why, again, I've been such an advocate for colleges, especially community colleges that are effective. It's like I said, I'm not just biased because SLIC is in my district, but I have to. When we're looking, I've got 3 kids that are going to school, that are going to be going into school. I've got one graduating, that's going to be graduating this year. We want to be able to make sure that people know that there are options, and so the federal government actually doesn't put out the correct data when it comes to college education, and so we have to try and get as much information out there as possible. And so, again, this is about getting people to get an education if they want one at the lowest cost possible, so that they can enrich their lives.
Thank you. So we need to do a quick break. When we come back, you mentioned this notion about the statistics and the data that the government runs. And I know that's a new bill that you've got, bipartisan, Democrat support. I want to ask about that when we come back.
Absolutely.
Keep it tuned. This is Community Roundtable with Utah's 4th District Congressional Representative Mia Love. Keep it tuned. We'll be right back. We are back on Community Roundtable. With us, Representative Mia Love. When we left off, we were talking about a new bill you have in Congress, bipartisan, Democratic co-sponsor, and Representative Marcia Fudge. She's from Ohio, also a member of the Congressional Black Caucus. So tell me about this bill and what it does for higher ed, because I'm already a fan. I mean, I don't mind being biased because I'm in education.
Well, first of all, I wanted to talk about Marcia Fudge just really quickly. She is Paul Ryan is my assigned mentor. He's my assigned big brother, as you could say.
Ooh.
Marcia is my chosen big sister. She has been absolutely wonderful. We work together on issues that we focus on. I've always said that American democracy is at its best when 2 people get into a room and talk about what they're for. And it's really nice to be able to be the only Republican in the Congressional Black Caucus where they have been very supportive in helping me on issues that we all agree on. When I need to go get bipartisan support on specific issues, that's the first place I go, and it's really nice. They've helped me quite a bit on veterans issues and college. So Marcia Fudge is absolutely wonderful. One of the things that we noticed is that when it comes to federal data and putting out information so that prospective students can look at where to go, we realized that a large percentage of students that are graduating from community colleges were left off. In other words, if you are not a first-time student graduating within 4 years, then all of a sudden you're left out of the federal data.
What do you mean left out?
So in other words, they don't record that. If you're looking at schools, you'll look at, for instance, a school like SLIC or any community college, they won't show a high percentage of graduates because they do not include students that haven't graduated within 4 years, and they do not include students that aren't first-time students. So, for instance, if you decide to go back to school and you start a different field, then you're not included in the data. So when you're looking at in the Board of Education, you're looking at their data, SLIC might not be at the top of the list because it doesn't have a high number of students graduating.
By that metric of 4 years.
Metrics of 4 years and first-time students.
So, I mean, if you think about it, if you look at, you take maybe the U, but you could look at Princeton or any of the Ivies.
Right.
They always brag about that, 96% 4-year completion.
That's right.
But
That's right.
They're residential. A lot of family support.
A lot of family support. A lot of money. The people that can actually afford.
Well, there is that kind of 60 grand a year.
That's right.
But those are the schools that get this reporting that they can quote.
That's right.
Folks like us are left out.
That's right.
And we have a number of students that take 10 years and do just great.
And I just think it does not help the American public at all whenever it comes to community colleges. In other words, I believe that formats like community colleges offer so many different options. My husband actually took him 7 years to be able to get a 4-year degree, but he was a attentive father working to provide for his family, and so he needed an option so that he can take his time and really studying a field that was important to him and to our family. So
what's this bill do?
So what the bill does is it says that it kind of broadens the data. So what it does is it says if you are coming back to school, whether you stop for a semester or whether you stop for 3 or 4 years, you are included in this data. And it also says that instead of 4-year completion, you can actually take up to 6 years, and that's included in the data.
Okay. Because that's probably the average at Salt Lake Community College.
And that's where I got the statistic from.
Oh, thank you.
So, there are a lot of members of Congress that like to think that they have all of the information. As for me, I use the information that is right here in the district. And so we get all of the statistics about what we can do to help in higher education right here in our district. And that is why we were able to introduce this, and I have broad bipartisan support, which turns out that there are a lot of other colleges that support this bill, and they're feeling the same things.
I've heard over 1,000 schools are already signed on and advocating for this bill.
And we'll see plenty more. To me, this is a no-brainer. It's really interesting because I think that the most effective solutions are found right here at the local level, and if we tend to take the information that we have right here that's available to us, we would do so much better in Washington in providing the right solutions and helping.
Yeah. So. Well, and at least universalize the data and what's available, and easier to compare apples and apples, one should say, for students. Do you think, nationwide, statistically, and in Utah as well, students of color underrepresented in college, underrepresented in completion of college. So do you see this as something that would benefit students of color and those underrepresented more than white students? Obviously, it's going to help everybody, but with the support of folks from the Congressional Black Caucus, is there a racial component to this?
Well, it also includes HBCUs. So you've got a lot of community colleges that are in, I would say, lower income areas that aren't included in these statistics. But this is the ability for people to be able to get an education and achieve their American dream. And if they don't know that there are options out there that are actually cost effective for them, that they can actually work their way through school, and it may not take, it may take a little bit longer than 4 years. Gee, why not give them the information so that they can make an informed decision as to where they should go?
Well, and students could see that their cohorts sitting around them in class are going to take 6 years just like they are. And they're not outliers.
What a great to me, American story if someone came from very little means, that they're able to sit around the table with someone who may have graduated from a four-year college, maybe from Princeton, but they're sitting at the same desk. It's the great equalizer. And so what I'm saying is that, let's give as many people as many options as possible. And to me, it's about getting the best education at the lowest cost again. And the only way that you know what's going to work for you is if you have the data that's available to you, and you can say, maybe I can go to a community college and get the education that I want, and it won't cost me
an arm and a leg.
The other part of this also is giving people the option of maybe not people who don't want to have a lot of debt when they graduate. Right? So you've got so many people that are saying, instead of starting their dream, maybe taking that first paycheck and starting a business or starting something else. A lot of people are spending a lot of their time and a lot of their lives paying back federal government for these, high costs of education. So I think this is, to me, bringing a little bit more competition, making sure that people know.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that it'll give, some of these institutions that thrive, the Princetons and the other schools that thrive from their statistics, a little bit more competition where you can look and say, actually this person was able to graduate in their area of study, have been able to work, and it didn't cost them a fraction of what it costs to go to these other schools. It might persuade some people to bring their costs down.
Could be why we've got 60,000 students at Salt Lake Community College.
Yes.
So we need to take another quick break. When we come back, I want to ask real quickly about the Prosper Act, which is that higher education bill that everybody's talking about for all of higher ed. And then I want to spend a moment and talk about immigration, because you've been one of the folks kind of out on the forefront with what I would call the mess going on currently.
Great.
Okay. Keep it tuned at Community Roundtable. We'll be back. Talk more with Representative Mia Love. We are back with Representative Mia Love. I wanted to be clear for folks, because this will come up in the media, that your bill has been folded into the large higher ed bill, the Prosper Act.
Yes.
So even if it doesn't get talked about in media coverage that zips by 24 hours a day, this is folded into that.
Right. That happens quite a bit when you have a bill that has got so much bipartisan support. And Marcia Fudge is on Working Ed, so she was able to work with that and get that into the larger bill. So we'll get a bill that's passed, which is nice. That helps out, and it'll be a part of the larger comprehensive bill.
Okay. So just to be clear, so
Yeah.
I wish you well on that, because I think that kind of tracking be good for everybody, and it would have included me because I took too long to finish. So let's get into immigration. People in Utah tend to be more supportive of immigrants and refugees than many parts of the country, even though we're largely conservative. Right. You've been quite outspoken recently with some of the language out of the White House. We see this contempt attacking immigrants, attacking Haiti, your country where your folks are from. How do you navigate that?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to know that, I'm not here to be a rubber stamp for anyone. I believe that the branch of government that's closest to people is the House of Representatives. So I am, first and foremost, a representative of the 4th District. This is an issue that's important to them. And when I hear language that comes out of the White House, I believe that it's important for me to make sure that I praise the White House when they do something right, and go after them when they do something wrong, no matter what letter's behind that name. So it's important for me to make sure that people know in the 4th District that I'm their representative. I'm not a representative of the White House. And there's a separation of powers that we learned very early on.
We should have learned.
Or we should have learned early on. That our job is to do the legislating, and then we bring that, the laws or the legislation to the president's desk. And if they want to veto it, then that's their But their job is to execute the laws that are passed by Congress. So.
Any grief from fellow Republicans over you sort of standing up to the White House about immigration? Because
there's always going to be, I'm sure, because I think that there are people that believe that we are supposed to just no matter what we do, support the president. And I feel that the best way that I can support the president is by making sure that he is supportive of the 4th District. It's again, I am elected by the people that are here. I'm not elected by the president, so I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he is successful for the things that we find important here.
It's a delicate dance, though. I mean, not just for you and your district, but I imagine many districts around the country, right, that are fairly evenly split, red and blue.
Right.
That it can't be, but I mean, you know what you stand for. You probably
Right.
know what the 4th District stands for.
That's, the people that I represent, they're my friends, they're my neighbors. They come into the office, they tell me what they're concerned about. And I do what I can to make sure that I'm representing them. And I feel as if I'm silent on everything. If I don't stand out, then I'm not really representing them well. And so at the end of the day, it is difficult. You're not going to please everyone, but I think it's important for us to remember who we are and what we stand for, and at least have some sort of decorum, some sort of civil conversation and respect for one another. And language should be very respectful, no matter where it's coming from.
Yeah. Do you feel any pressure or any other issues being a minority in Congress? I mean, we don't have a lot of people of color in Congress. You're speaking out on immigration. Your
Right.
parents are from Haiti.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be very easy for you to be out there on a limb, so to speak.
Well, first of all, this is an issue that I think is important in terms of my principles and my faith. We are a country that is born of people who have immigrated. At some point, everyone, their ancestors immigrated to the United States. And I think the thing is to make sure that we're not taking for granted the responsibilities and the blessings that we get from being a U.S. citizen. My parents, when they immigrated from Haiti, my dad said that he worked really hard. He learned how to speak English. He studied the Constitution and American history. He probably knew more about American history than most Americans did at the time. And when he pledged his allegiance to the American flag, he knew exactly what he was saying, and he meant every word of it. I think that the oath that people take when they naturalize is an oath that every single American should take. I've been involved in a lot of naturalization ceremonies, recently seeing young kids actually being naturalized, and you should see the journey, not just on their face, but their parents' faces, and how much they love the thought and the fact that now they have something that no one can take away from them. That is really cool, which is why I think the immigration reform and fixing DACA is important, because when we're actually able to do that, now you're not subject to who's in the White House. You have something that you've earned that no one can take away from you.
Good point. So we're almost out of time, but do you see Congress effectively helping the Dreamers in DACA, figuring that out over the next few weeks?
I think they can, but one is they have to stop asking permission first. First of all, I think there's a lot of let's find out what the president will support or what he will not support. I think it's important for us to have some good language that we can actually send to the president's desk. And then the president can sign it into law or veto it. But I think we get too much into the back and forth when we're trying to predict what the president is going to do. Again, this is to me about making sure that we're not consolidating power in the White House. We have to make sure we do our job in Congress, and we'll see a lot less of the block that we've seen in terms of blocking legislation that we've seen, because I think people are trying to do too much predicting. So I'm really looking forward to working on immigration. I'm working on the visa diversity portion of immigration, and I'm confident that if we actually focus on doing our job, there's a lot of legislation, the USA Act, bipartisan support, 25 Republicans, 25 Democrats. We should push that language forward and ask the president to sign it into law.
Ask him to step up.
Step up and sign it into law.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there, but come back and talk to us again, because I got about 1,000 more questions.
Well, I'm sure I have 500 more answers.
Okay, no, that's good. But you're on the Climate Caucus. We've got Senator Hatch retiring. I want to know if you want to be senator or governor someday. So come back when you're in town. We'll talk some more.
Thank you.
Representative Mia Love, 4th District here in Utah, thank you for joining us on Community Roundtable. If you'd like more information about all the academic and all the community programs here at Salt Lake Community College, if you'd like to know more about student resources, about upcoming events, and more, go to slcc.edu. That's slcc.edu. I'm Nick Burns, and we'll see you next time on Community Roundtable.